What's happening, world? I'm your host, the Wizard of Woz, Benji Wozniak, and we're having part 2 of our Disney restaurant review with my lovely wife, Kimberly, where she will start right now.
Hi, everyone. So just as a quick recap, if you didn't listen to the last podcast, we got a dining plan on our last visit to Disney. We got a deluxe dining plan. There are several different levels of dining plan you can get, but basically we got a deluxe plan. So this entitled us to 3 meal credits. And the word credits is important here. 3 meal credits a day, plus 2 snacks, plus a refillable mug. Now, Disney has several levels of dining classifications for restaurants. There's quick service restaurants, which are just counter service. You walk up, you get your food. It's like going to McDonald's, albeit with better food. There is table service restaurants, which are 1 credit as well. And you basically go like you're going to a restaurant where you live. You go in, you sit down, a waitress takes your order, that sort of thing. And then there's what Disney calls signature restaurants. And signature restaurants are worth 2 credits on the dining plan. So a signature restaurant is going to be a higher level of everything. It's a higher level of food, a higher level of service, and a higher bill. They're pricey. For the most part, they're worth it. There are many signature restaurants on property. So when we got this dining plan, we knew that 3 meals a day at Disney would be difficult to do. You can do it, but I feel like you would be spending most of your day running from meal to meal. So what we chose to do was to do either a breakfast or a lunch, and most of the time breakfast, and an early lunch, and then a late dinner. And a late dinner at a signature restaurant, which would cost us 2 credits, thereby using the 3 credits for the day. And if we got hungry during the day, we would use one of our snack credits to get something to eat. So, picking up from last week, the next restaurant that we went to was in the Magic Kingdom, and it's called Jungle Navigation Company Ltd. Skipper Canteen. Jungle Skipper Canteen for the rest of us. So we went for lunch. It's 1 credit. It's a table service. And this restaurant is based off of the Jungle Cruise ride in the Magic Kingdom. It is extraordinarily well themed. The pictures on the wall to the books in the bookcase, there is a shtick from that the waiters do where they make all these really bad jokes, which if you've ever ridden a Jungle Cruise is something that carries over from that. Even on the menu, some of the things on the menu had really kitschy names, like one of the food items was tastes like chicken because it is. And that's the name of the dish. A lot at steak salad. So it's like that. It's a really fun restaurant. It also has more adventurous food offerings than you would normally find inside a Walt Disney theme park. I know we've said before, we like Tiffin's because of that. At Tiffin's, Animal Kingdom in general has more adventurous food, but when you're talking Magic Kingdom, it generally leans, even at the table service, you're not going to find anything unusual. It's going to be, a steak, a chicken dish, a burger, things like that. Nothing is going to be out of the ordinary. They try to keep things as generalized as possible to feed the most amount of people. However, if you are a more adventurous eater like we are, Jungle Skipper was actually very, very good. You can get a reservation here pretty much last minute. We could have walked in off the street when we went. There was nobody in it. And I think that's a shame because it was one of the better meals that we had. So anyway, for an appetizer, Ben got the Shariki noodle salad. And this was, correct me if I'm wrong, a cold noodle salad?
Yes, it was.
Okay, so it's noodles, edamame beans, mushrooms, green mango, and cucumber, tossed with a sweet chili sauce. And according to the menu, I don't know what this means. It may be a Jungle Skipper shtick, or it may be an actual fact, but it says famously served at Hotel Hightower on December 31st, 1899. What did you think?
Okay, so I have to be honest. I did not have high expectations about this restaurant when we booked it because of the fact it's after the Jungle Cruise. So I wasn't expecting anything fancy or good. And I have to say I was surprised. This appetizer was served cold. The noodles and everything complemented each other well. I was actually pleasantly surprised at it. I'd get it again. I'd recommend it to someone. It's definitely something you should try.
Okay. I got the SEA Shumai. It is, the description is a legendary blend of pork, shrimp, edamame beans, and spices wrapped in gyoza skin and then steamed. And it came in a little bamboo steamer and it was out of this world good. It had a little dipping sauce with it. They offered chopsticks, which I used, but you don't have to. They will give you a fork. They're fine with it. And it was outstanding. It was the flavors were amazing. I generally like shumai anyway, but not everybody makes it right. This was very, very good. It was perfectly seasoned. It was well steamed, and honestly, I would have gotten two of these and been very happy with my meal and moved on with my day. But we didn't. We actually did get entrees. So Ben actually did get the steak, which he always does. It's the Dr. Falls signature grilled steak, adobe seasoned New York strip, vegetable and chorizo, farfalle, caramelized onion puree, and a red wine reduction. It looked amazing. I was kind of busy with my amazing food, so I don't know how he liked his.
Okay, so as you know, this is a themed restaurant for the Jungle Cruise. So it is what it is. You're going to get not as high quality of steak as you would, like say, Tiffin's or another restaurant. That being said, it was good. It was definitely worth it if you go to this restaurant to get the steak. It wasn't phenomenal. I wasn't like drop dead. Oh my God, I have to come back here for this. It was tasty and good.
Okay, one of the things I forgot is, so Ben's noodle salad was $11. My shumai was $13, and his steak was $36. This is if you were paying out of pocket. I ordered off of this. Like I said, I try to order seafood because I don't get it very often. And so I ordered a dish called Sankuru Sadie's Seafood Stew. Shrimp, sustainable fish, mussels, bay scallops, and octopus simmered in a fragrant coconut sauce and served with jasmine rice. I have to tell you, this is up there with one of my favorite meals that we had the entire time we were there. And we ate at some super pricey restaurants. But this was much better than I thought it was going to be. There was crawfish on it. It wasn't even listed, and it had crawfish. And it was just outstanding. It came... it said rice, but it wasn't a like over rice. It was like a stew with rice in it sort of thing. And it was very, very good. I would definitely order it again. And it was $28, which I'm sorry is an absolute bargain for the amount of seafood that was in this meal.
Yeah, they did serve a lot of food.
It was great. So moving on to desserts. So if you've met my husband, you know that he is a chocolate fiend and a coconut and banana fiend. So he ended up getting Kungaloosh. It's an African-inspired chocolate cake with caramelized bananas with cashew caramel ice cream and topped with coffee dust. It was $9. What'd you think?
Oh my God. It was so good. It was moist and delicious and chocolatey, and you could taste all the flavors of the banana. And it was really a good dessert. Well done. I'll definitely get that again if we go.
And because I was so full and I was really hoping he would eat my dessert, he didn't, but I wish he would have because there was so much food. I got a coconut bar with pineapple basil compote and vanilla cream. It's a vanilla chiffon cake with coconut and lime white chocolate ganache. It's $8.50. And it was excellent, and I'm surprised. I wasn't sure about the basil in with a dessert. You don't generally see that, but it actually paired really, really well with the pineapple. And it was actually very good. They also brought us a little cupcake. Just as a side note, we never really did a honeymoon when we got married this year, so this was technically our honeymoon. So we had mentioned checking in. They had asked us if we were celebrating anything, and we had mentioned that. And they had given us little pins to wear. And those pins were like having the keys to the kingdom when it came to dining.
Yeah, it was.
Everywhere we went, I think, did something for us, whether it was an extra little dessert. A couple yachtsmen and Citricos gave us personalized menus to keep. There was champagne toasts, quite a few of those. So definitely if you're celebrating something at Disney, let them know, because it's not a guarantee that anything will happen, that you'll get anything extra. But at a minimum, multiple cast members all day long will tell you congratulations and be super, like extra super friendly above and beyond what they normally are, which is pretty freaking friendly. So that was our Jungle Cruise. Jungle Navigation meal. So the next restaurant we went to was Citricos, and I have to say, going in, that this was one that I had kind of gone back and forth on, because this is at the Grand Floridian Resort, which is right outside of the Magic Kingdom, and I was there are a lot of restaurants. There are several very good restaurants inside of the Grand Floridian. There's another signature restaurant. Citrico's is a signature restaurant. And there's another signature restaurant in the Grand Floridian called Narcoossee's, which is also very well liked and more well liked from what I could gather than Citrico's was. But in checking the menus, I just found I felt like Citrico's was a better fit for us. There was more on the menu that I thought we would enjoy than there would have been at Narcoossee's. Now, at Narcoossee's, one of the selling points is if you book right around the time of the Magic Kingdom fireworks, you can see them from the restaurant.
Which is awesome.
Right, and we've done that at California Grill, and it really is a good experience. I recommend anybody do that at some point. But we've done it before. We did it at California Grill, so we weren't as concerned with doing something like that. So I decided on Citrico's. Now, when we got there, we were better than halfway through our trip. We only had a couple days left, and I have to say, as much as I love food, I was getting fooded out. I'm not going to lie. They give you a lot of food. This meal plan is a ton of food.
I'm an eater, and it was rough.
And I was getting ready to tap out. I'm not going to lie. I had just about enough. But so we went through here, and I wanted a lighter kind of a meal. I will say this was probably one of the best servers we had. She was excellent. It was a quieter restaurant than I had thought it would be. So that was nice. A lot of the restaurants, just because of where they are, tend to be louder. And I tend to like a quieter restaurant just because being in the parks all day with all those people can be just a little much, and I just want to sit and be quiet. And a lot of times I'll just get something at our resort and take it back to the room just because I need that quiet. But Citrico's wasn't super loud. Hollywood Brown Derby was very loud. Yachtsman was very loud. Citrico's was not. So we get in, and I decide that because of all of the food I've eaten all week, I'm just getting a salad. That's all I want. I just want a salad. So I got the salad vert, which is basically just French for green salad. It was $12. It had Bib lettuce, haricot vert, which is green beans, heirloom tomatoes, fennel, niçoise olives, fingerling potatoes, and sherry mustard vinaigrette. This was super fresh. This was probably the best salad I've had on property. The lettuce was super fresh. The vinaigrette was amazing. I actually was kind of mad at myself. I wish I'd asked them if they would give up the recipe, because a lot of times they will. I'll have to look it up. Very, very good. I enjoyed it. I liked the fact that I was finally eating a vegetable, or at least a vegetable not smothered in some sauce, and I felt better about it. Ben, surprisingly, so let me just say there are 3 salad and soup options, and then there are 3 other appetizer courses, 2 of which are seafood options, and the other one is a pate, which he wasn't going to touch.
Nope.
So he actually, shockingly, instead of going with the salad that I thought he would go with, or going with the soup, he went with, it's the Florida shrimp. It's house-made gnocchetti, sardi pasta, spicy puttanesca sauce, baby spinach, and parmesan with shrimp. And he loved it.
Yeah, it was absolutely delicious. The shrimp was really, really, sometimes you get shrimp and it's like gummy and not good. This was cooked perfect. It was just an incredible flavor to it. And I recommend this highly. If you get a chance to go there, you should definitely order this.
So his appetizer was $16 on the menu. For entrees, I'm going to do his first because I'm going to talk about mine for quite a while. He got red wine braised beef short ribs with Swiss chard, exotic mushrooms, and pappardelle pasta. Is that what you got?
Yes.
I take that back. You did not. That's what you were going to get.
Oh, yeah.
You ended up getting the oak grilled beef fillet.
Yes, I did. I went to my fallback.
Yeah. He does tend to lean towards the fillet. The oak grilled beef fillet, potato puree, broccolini, cipollini jam, bordelaise, and it's $51.
Yep.
You can substitute a 20-ounce ribeye for $72, both of which are available as part of the dining plan. You can go in either direction with that. It looks good.
Oh, it was good. Like I said before, the chefs at Disney, they cook the meat perfect. I mean, if you ask for medium rare, you're getting medium rare. If you ask for medium, you're getting a medium. But like my wife had said, we were eating so much food at this point in time. I was literally sweating meat. I mean, it was just rough. But it was delicious. I highly recommend going there and getting it. Cooked perfect. And I just don't know what to say about it. It's just an experience you have to try for yourself.
Okay. So then I know everybody's shocked that I got the seafood dish. I got the scallop risotto. Description on the menu, it's $48, and the description is fava beans, English peas, chanterelles, and carameloni rice. So let me just say, first of all, I live in New England. I've had phenomenal seafood my entire life. There's definitely no lack of good seafood in New England. These were the best scallops I've ever eaten in my entire life. They were amazing. They melted in your mouth. They were perfectly cooked. It was like butter. It was so good. And if you've never had English peas, go get some. Find a restaurant that has them and eat them. They're amazing. I don't like peas in general, and I love English peas. But the whole dish was just outstanding. I can't say enough good things about this dish. The scallops were perfectly seasoned. Like I said, eating them, oh my gosh, I can't even. And the risotto was phenomenal. Creamy, perfectly cooked, perfectly complemented the scallops and the peas that were in it. Just outstanding. Again, it was $48 and worth every penny.
Yeah, I did try one of her scallops, and she is correct. It melted in your mouth. It was really delicious, and they just cook so good.
So, during the course of this meal, our server was amazing. She saw the buttons. She sprinkled our table with Mickey-shaped glitter, which was outstanding. And she brought us a champagne toast. She was very, very good. She wasn't super hovery, which I don't like. And I didn't feel like this meal was rushed. I felt like we could have taken as long as we wanted with this meal, and nobody would have cared. We were there a couple of hours, I think, and I didn't feel rushed even a little bit. No. So moving on to desserts, I wish, and we're going to have to get together and get whether it be a video camera or something or a Facebook page or something to post the pictures of these things. I wish I had pictures of my dessert. So my dessert, it's called a warm chocolate banana torte. It's $12 with vanilla ice cream and handcrafted Belgian couverture chocolate crown. And when I tell you, they're not lying. It's a literal crown on the plate.
It was nice.
And it's just stunning. Like visually, you don't even want to eat it. It looks so good. And then it had homemade vanilla ice cream, and it was on like a bed of graham cracker crumbs. And then there was a chocolate torte that it was almost like a chocolate lava cake with caramelized bananas on it and brown sugar. And this was probably the best dessert I ate. It was so good. It was I know I keep saying like this was the best thing and that was, but as I'm reliving these meals, I'm telling you, the food was amazing.
Yeah, and the chocolatiers did a phenomenal job with the crown and the whole design.
So Ben got the chocolate hazelnut bar. It's with coffee, coconut ice cream.
Go figure.
Creamy hazelnut banana mousse, coconut milk ganache, and a chocolate praline. It looked outstanding. Presentation-wise, it was amazing.
Yeah, and it tasted amazing, too. Can you see a trend here with the whole chocolate coconut banana thing? That's my fallback, and I have to say, each and every one I've gotten at the different restaurants were just phenomenal. And this one, the presentation was great, and the flavors all blended together well. And again, it was, the chocolatiers are so good at Disney. I mean, they create masterpieces.
So we had a great experience at Citrico's, and it's one of the restaurants I definitely want to try again.
Oh, yes.
Because, some of the restaurants were great. Flying Fish, fantastic, but it was so loud. That whole grouping just threw me off the restaurant. I don't know that I would go again. Yeah. Hollywood Brown Derby, I think, is a one and done for me because as good as the food was, unless we do an early lunch, it was just way too loud. Citrico's was so nice. It was so relaxing, and it wasn't noisy, and the service was phenomenal. I definitely would do it again. So the next day, we ventured into Disney Springs, and we went to Raglan Road, which Raglan Road is an Irish pub and restaurant in Disney Springs, and they have on the weekends and at night they have live dancers, Irish dancers, which makes it super fun. But if you aren't looking for a really loud time, I highly recommend you go during the day. We went right when they opened, and there was nobody in there. And it was nice. It was quiet. There weren't a lot of people there. The only thing I really was kind of put off by was, and it probably had more to do with staffing at that time of day. But we were the only people in there. We had made reservations for right when they opened. So we went in, they sat us, and then they immediately sat somebody to either side of us. Yeah. In it's a very crowded, I mean, there wasn't a lot of space between booths. And I thought that was super weird that they wouldn't at least space out people, just because it wasn't crowded, but maybe it had more to do with staffing and trying to keep, sections contained. I don't know. It was really weird the way they did it, but I mean, it didn't really bother us. I just thought at that time of day we would have just a little bit more like privacy to ourselves. It was fine either way. So Ben for an appetizer it's called a Dalkey Duo. So this is a really cute menu. So the appetizers here are called starty stuff, and then there's lunchy stuff. So for starty stuff, Ben got the Dalkey Duo. It's $15. It's Dalkey mustard battered Cheshire Heritage cocktail sausages with a Dalkey mustard dipping sauce. And this actually came really cute. It came on I don't even know how to describe this, but it was a little rack with forks standing up, and there were sausages on the forks. So it was like a little sausage forest. And then there were a few more sausages in a bowl, and then the mustard dipping sauce, which I actually did try, and it was phenomenal. But do you want to talk about your appetizer?
Absolutely. Okay, so my name's Wozniak, my last name, but my mother was Irish. Her name was Hart, and she had me try tons of Irish food when I was growing up. And I was looking forward to the experience of going to an Irish pub, an authentic Irish pub. And I found out that this was the most visited pub in the United States when we were there. And this Dalkey Duo was absolutely phenomenal. It's battered sausage, and they give you a mustard sauce, like my wife said, and it is just so tasty and filling. I mean, I was literally getting full off eating this appetizer.
Yeah, I agree. This is a place that if you just wanted like a small lunch and you didn't want to eat like a big meal, you could easily go in here, order an appetizer, and it would be plenty of food.
Oh, yeah.
So I got the Nom Nom wings. So the description is sweet and spicy wings tossed in a honey, chili flake, soy, and ginger sauce. And it was also $15, the same as Ben's appetizer. And I got to tell you, it was delicious. It came with some sort of a dipping sauce. I don't even know what it was. I don't even think I used it because the wings were just so good. They had a little bit of a kick to them. But I'm going to tell you, I would have just eaten this. Like, this could have been my lunch.
Yeah, they were delicious.
And it would have been amazing just like that. So for lunchy stuff, this is what they call it. It says lunchy stuff. Ben got the rack of ribs. It's $22. It's a slow roasted half rack of Guinness glazed baby back ribs served with chips and coleslaw. And what they mean by chips is French fries. They do not mean actual chips. They mean French fries. This is an Irish pub. And it's rack of ribs, $22, and it looked delicious.
And it was the meat just fell off the bones, and it was just so tasty. The glaze they put on it was delicious. The French fries, of course, they're French fries, but they complemented the ribs really well, and it was just a really good experience. I loved it. I don't know what else to say about it. It's just you got to go there at least once.
You didn't particularly care for the slaw.
No, I'm usually a big slaw person, and for some reason, I just didn't like the way the slaw was made. It just didn't taste good to me.
Okay, so I tried a slaw. I thought it was okay. I tend to be a little picky about coleslaw, so I didn't hold it against them by any stretch. So I really had trouble with this menu. There's so much on here that I wanted to try, and I really couldn't decide what to get. So what I ended up getting was the Worth the Wait beef sandwich. It's 12-hour braised beef, sautéed mushrooms, crispy onions, garlic aioli, and smoked cheddar on ciabatta. And it comes with a side, and for my side, I got garlic and Parmesan fries, which I'm not going to lie to you, the garlic and Parmesan fries were the best part of this meal.
Yeah, they hit butt.
The Worth the Wait beef sandwich was good. However, and this is not the fault of them, I think in my head I had it at like a thin sliced roast beef sandwich. And it was definitely more of like a brisket, which wasn't really what I wanted or what I was looking for. And that isn't their fault. That's mine because I didn't really think it through, and I should have asked questions that I didn't ask. It was very good. It just wasn't something I would probably get again. I think the next time I would try something else.
Yeah.
Now, having said that, the rest of the food was good enough at this restaurant that I definitely would like to go back.
Oh, definitely. Most definitely.
And I would like to go back, I think, at a time when there is a show and just kind of experience that sort of thing, because people seem to love it. Though I have heard, and be aware that even if you have a reservation here at night or on the weekends during show times, you tend to wait upwards of an hour after your reservation to be seated, because people tend to stay longer because of the shows. They tend to eat slowly and sit back, have an extra drink, enjoy the show, that sort of thing. So that's something that if you're interested in going here, be aware of that. If you're trying to go there during show times, maybe make a reservations for just before the show starts or half an hour before the show starts, and then you can see some of the show and you can enjoy that extra drink maybe. So that was Raglan. That was the entrees at Raglan Road. For dessert, we had, so Ben will almost always go for the bread pudding dessert. If there is one, that's what he's getting.
Love it.
So they had one called Gare's Bread and Butter Pudding, and the description only says, like no other you have ever tried, believe us. And according to Ben, they are absolutely telling the truth. It came with a caramel sauce and a cream sauce.
It was so gooey.
And you just cut it open and poured the sauces on at your leisure. It really, I don't even like bread pudding, and it looked amazing.
It was awesome. It was so gooey and sticky and delicious and, and warm. And they did a great job with this. And like they said, it's like no other. This was phenomenal bread pudding. And I highly recommend that. I mean, if you go there and you don't get that, then you are crazy.
I will almost always get the fruit type of dessert if there's a fruit-based dessert, not necessarily just fruit on something, but a fruit-based dessert, like a key lime or a lemon something. So they had a dessert called Fluffy Lemon Clouds, and it's
fluffy.
The descriptions are intense lemon curd tart topped with fluffy meringue. Out of this world. The lemon curd was, I think, homemade, and it was amazing. There was a little thing of mint on the top, and the lemon curd was super puckery, and the plating of it was amazing, and the meringue was perfectly browned.
It looked really good.
It was so good. Definitely something I would get again. And while I always think I'm going to get the chocolate dish, by the time the meal's over, I almost always will get the fruit dish if there is one. So that was our experience at Raglan Road. Definitely another one we would do again.
Oh, yeah. And that is definitely going to be on my list to get that bread pudding. Sorry.
Okay. So our next meal was another character meal. It's a relatively new character meal. It's storybook dining at Artist Point at the Wilderness Lodge. Artist Point was a much either beloved or maligned restaurant, depending on who you're speaking to. It had people who loved it, but there were many people who loathed it. So they have changed it now, and they are only doing dinner, and the dinner is with Snow White, Grumpy, Dopey, and the Evil Queen. And it is extraordinarily well themed. When you walk in and you are seated, on your table there is a tree, and the tree has big leaves, 3 big leaves, and that is what they come out when they come out with your appetizers. That's what they put them on. So this is a prefix meal, meaning you pay a set price, and that's what you get. So for appetizer, they're shared appetizers. You get 3. Everyone gets 3. They're very small. They're like like an amuse-bouche, which is a very small appetizer if you eat French food. And then you get to pick an entree from, I think there's 7 entrees. And then you also get shared desserts. So to start out with, they bring you the shared appetizers. The shared appetizers are a mushroom bisque with crispy mushroom, wicked shrimp cocktail with soy miso, avocado, Thai chili, and greens, and then the hunter's terrine. The hunter's terrine was like a chicken sausage pate type of, and it was really odd. Black truffle, stone fruit preserve, and house-made pickles. I didn't love the hunter's tureen, although the stone fruit preserves were amazing. So they gave you like pickles and some crackers, and it was almost like a chicken pate type of thing.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
It was very strange. It was okay. It wasn't great. The mushroom bisque was very good.
Yep, I agree with that. That was good.
And the wicked shrimp cocktail, I don't think you ate.
No.
I liked it. I thought it was very, very good. But they are an odd pairing of appetizers if you are there with children, which I would say 90% of people usually are. But I have heard that they will adjust the appetizers for if you bring kids. So kids, you can get like a shared appetizer just for the children that has like fruits, vegetables, cheeses, that kind of thing. So it's a little more kid friendly. So while you're eating, they introduce Snow White comes out. And then each of the dwarfs comes out and they come around, and it was a really, really good character interaction.
Yeah.
Grumpy especially was amazing. Whoever is doing that in that suit or whatever you want to call it, is very good at his job.
Yeah, and they make sure they go to all the tables.
Yeah, they were very careful about going to all the tables. It's not a huge place.
No.
It is very well themed. You feel like you're in a forest. The views from the Wilderness Lodge, if you've never been, are just outstanding. And the views from that restaurant, you get like a view of the lake and the woods and stuff. It's really nice. So then you come to the core of the story, entrees. So again, this is a prefix meal. It's $59 a person, which is pricey. I would venture to say this is well worth the $59. So you get to pick from seven entrees rather, excuse me. There is a vegetarian appetizer. There's also, there's a beef stew. There's a pork shank. There's a land and sea one, prime rib, grilled chicken, and a sustainable fish option. So we actually both went with the prime rib. Now, I'm going to say that we had, at this point, or Ben especially, had many excellent steaks. This was not one of them.
No.
I love prime rib. I wish I had gotten something different. It was okay, but whatever they used as a rub on the outside was so salty that it literally was inedible. Like I had to cut off the edges of it. It was cooked perfectly, and once you got the edges off, it was delicious. But it wasn't great. But it came with this popover that was outstanding.
Yeah, the popover was really good. Yeah.
Not gonna lie, I would have had like 5 of those. We could have gone on our way. And I had been leaning towards, I don't often order pork when we go anywhere because I'm not a huge fan, but I had been leaning towards the pork shank, and I really wish I had ordered that because the prime rib just wasn't good. It just wasn't, no. But I will say the horseradish mashed potatoes that came with it were something I never would have put together.
Right, those were good.
But they were excellent.
Yes, I agree with that. But for some reason, I just didn't like it.
Yeah, it just, prime rib, again, I mean, you live and learn. And at that point, we had so many good meals. There was bound to be a sour note in there somewhere. I mean, nobody has perfect meals every night. And we had been really lucky.
Yes.
As far as good food. So, it was a little bit of a sound. And would they have probably changed it for something else if we had asked? Absolutely. Disney being Disney, if I had said to them that it's just so salty, it's inedible, they would have happily probably brought me something else. But at that point, we were a little pressed for time that day. We had tickets to the Christmas party at the Magic Kingdom. So we were kind of in a rush. We had made the reservation, like the first reservation of the evening. There was a very, very early dinner for us because we were going to the Christmas party. But it was excellent. Now, then they bring you your shared desserts. And the shared desserts, you get 3. You get the Miner's Treasure. It was like, it was a sponge cake, a berry panna cotta, and chocolate gems. So basically when you were, quote unquote, digging into this dessert, you were pulling up gemstones, and they were edible.
Treasures.
So it was really cute. Visually, it was a very cute dessert. I didn't love it. I'm not a big panna cotta fan, so it wasn't my favorite. They had a poison apple, which actually looked like a little sparkly apple on your plate, and it was dark chocolate apple mousse with a sour center. Amazing. I would say, it was very good. That was very good. I didn't care for the Miner's Treasures, but the poison apple was outstanding.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't like the Miner's Treasure, but the poison apple, I definitely recommend that. That was really good.
Now, my favorite dessert that they gave us, it's called a fairy tale gooseberry pie. I've never had a gooseberry. I wouldn't know a gooseberry if I tripped on one. Never seen one. I will tell you that gooseberry makes a phenomenal pie.
Yeah, it was really
It
good.
was excellent. It was gooseberry and it had like a meringue topping. Absolutely amazing. Very, very good. And I think we both liked that one the best.
Yeah, that was actually very good. I was surprised. I've never heard of gooseberries either, and it was very tasty. I'm surprised.
So at this point in the meal, they remove the dishes, and our server comes over with a card. It's a laminated invitation, and what it is a summons to see the queen. She brings you she has the server bring you this limited card, and it says the queen has summoned you and your friends to visit her. She only invites the fairest in the land. So basically, you go to the queen. She doesn't come to you. She has her own little setup. So at the end of your meal, you go over and you get in line and you meet the queen. So we got this summons, and then they brought us the final part of the meal. And they bring over on a pillow in a glass box that is smoking. I'm assuming some sort of dry ice involved. They open it, and in this box, which is called the Hunter's Gift to the Queen, it has crackled maple popcorn and a ganache chocolate heart with it. So it's homemade maple popcorn and a homemade chocolate ganache heart. They were very good. It was more visually stunning than it was good to eat. Yeah,
I agree.
It was okay. It was chocolate. There was nothing special about it. But the visual aspect of it, of them bringing it in the box and the box smoking, was really, really cool. So after that, we went to meet the queen. I have done many, many character interactions at Disney, and I am here to tell you that this character interaction with the evil queen at Storybook Dining at Artist Point at the Wilderness Lodge is the best one I've ever done. I don't know what they're paying this woman. It is clearly not enough. She should get all the money. She was outstanding. I went up, Ben did not. He took video. And when I approached her, I bowed to her because she is the queen and asked her how she was. And she informed me in a very, very insulted voice that she was nauseated that they've deigned to have that girl in the same room as myself. In that same voice, it was awesome. So we spoke for several minutes, and then I thanked her, to which the reply was, as well you should thank me.
Great theming.
She was outstanding, amazingly in character, just amazing. I would definitely do that again, just for the character interaction. And I don't often say that because I feel like if you're paying that kind of money, the food should be good as well. But in this case, the character interaction was so good that even though our entree wasn't, I would go and just try eating something else.
Yeah,
I would definitely try it again just based on the character interaction that we had there. It was probably the best we had the entire time.
Yeah, 100%.
It was just outstanding. The evil queen was everything. Well worth the money the table credit we spent. It's only one table credit on the Disney dining plan. So that's something else to consider. It's not a signature restaurant. There are only a couple of character signatures. Cinderella's Royal Table is 2 credits. I'm trying to think of what else is it. Be Our Guest Restaurant with the Beast is also, for dinner, is 2 credits. And nobody should ever go to that, but that's a whole nother show. So the next day we did Tusker House at Animal Kingdom, which is also a character meal. We did lunch, and I am going to before we get to the actual meal part, I am going to let my husband tell you about adventures in checking in at Tusker House.
Okay. Well, just so you know, it is a shit show. There is a huge, huge line, and you do not move quickly. And many people there, let's face it, people are rude and they're ignorant, and they will walk to the front of the line right past you, and they don't care that you've been waiting an hour.
Well, the other side of that was it's a super crowded area where they do the check-in. And if you're coming in from the side, you may not even realize there is a line because it's not like a super delineated line. It's just a bunch of people. The other side of this is when people go to Disney, they forget how to line up. Like they need to have a first grade class teach them how to line up again.
I think it's the fact that they go, well, I paid money to be here.
That's probably some of it. But Tusker House was very unorganized as far as check-in. The line wasn't very clear if you came in from the side or even behind where they had the check-in guest desk, you probably wouldn't even realize there was a line. It just looked like the crowd of people was waiting at the bar.
Yeah,
because you line up through the bar area, which is just horrendous.
I like to say, don't let that discourage you, though, because we'll get into the details of Tusker House. Go right ahead.
So it's called Donald's Dining Safari, and it's Donald and Daisy, Goofy and Minnie, right?
Yep.
Okay. And it is a buffet. So let me preface this by saying that if you are looking for a quiet meal, this is not somewhere you want to go.
No.
It's very tightly packed. It's a character meal. There's a ton of children. And they all, as children do, children all want to be first and all want to be, it's loud and they all want to talk to the characters and nobody really wants to wait. And if crying, screaming children bother you, this is not the place for you. However, if you have a child, this was a stellar character experience. And we were 2 adults alone. So I always try to qualify that because I feel like there were a lot of instances where we didn't get the same character interaction that we would have gotten had we had a child with us. But at this particular restaurant, we got a stellar interaction.
By far.
So let me preface by saying, we checked in and it went about a half an hour past our reservation time before we were called, and we had I think it was a pager, right? Before we were called in to come be seated. It was one of the few restaurants we were seated in the middle of the room, which was nice. I prefer to be around the edges, but you like to be in the middle. So he got his way on that one.
Social butterfly.
It is $54 for adults and $32 for children for lunch. There are a variety of options leaning towards basic what you would term American options with vegetables and pork and chicken. And there are also some more adventurous things that tend to have an African or a West Indian flair to them. There were a lot of curries. There was some chutney. There was basmati rice. There were fried plantains and things like that. Tabbouleh and hummus. And the food was outstanding. There was the best mac and cheese we've ever had anywhere.
If
I had
incredible.
realized how good the mac and cheese was, I probably would have eaten that and nothing else. It was the absolute hands down best mac and cheese. The flavor was amazing. It was creamy. It was so good. I want the mac and cheese from Tusker House again.
Yes. I'll deal with that aggravation just for that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I would probably make our reservation for a less busy time next time, just because the check-in process was so annoying.
Yeah,
I think you waited in line 40 minutes just to check in, and then it was another half hour after our reservation time before we got our table. But regardless, the food itself was very, very good.
Oh, yeah, they had some great desserts. I mean,
the curry chicken was amazing, and I've made curry chicken quite frequently, and it was excellent. There were kid options as well, which was nice. There were mashed potatoes for kids. I think there were tots.
Yep,
tater tots there.
Because I love me some tots.
He loves his tots, so he eats quite a bit of the kids section of buffets when we go places at Disney. But there was fruit and there was different kinds of salads, and it was very good. Yep. I have nothing to complain about with the food at Tusker House. I don't think that anything we tried was bad.
No. Just to tell you, like, the interaction with the characters, Donald kissed my wife's hand, and I was like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And he made this embarrassed look and put his head down. Just phenomenal interaction. I mean, it was really
very personable. It wasn't just, and these characters don't speak, so it's a little different than dealing with Snow White or Flynn Rider and Ariel and Rapunzel and Prince Eric, who all actually talk to you. The Mickeys and the Minnies and Donald Ducks and those things don't speak. So everything is sort of mimed, and you have to be very good at your job to get across what you want to get across without speaking. And these characters had it down. These people had it down. They had it down. I mean, I don't even know a better way to say that. This was a great meal and a great character interaction.
Yeah, book it for your child if you're going.
Yeah, I definitely would recommend this. I would say that if you have a child on the spectrum or a child who is easily overstimulated, you may think of doing this at off times. You know, a super early lunch or even like a late breakfast that could turn into lunch, because they will allow you to stay. If you book like the last breakfast of the day, you'll get breakfast food and lunch food.
Yep.
And that might be worth it to you. If you're looking for a little bit of lower level. They also had a smaller room off to the side that I'm sure, just based on looking at it, looked much smaller, so it would be much quieter. And you could probably, if you did have a child that had, sensory issues, noise issues, you could ask for that particular room to be seated in that room. You might have to wait a little bit for it, but it might be worth it for you if that's something that is a concern for you. So, our very, very sad last day, and it's only very sad because it was the last day.
Yep.
When we were planning this, had no idea where we wanted to eat for the last day. We were in the Magic Kingdom, so I looked around. I don't generally enjoy the restaurants in the Magic Kingdom. I think that the sit-downs outside of Jungle Skipper are abysmal. That is my personal opinion. It doesn't mean I'm wrong, but they're generally not good. And I feel the same about the quick service options as well at the Magic Kingdom. Cosmic Rays is a big favorite for people. I will never understand why. And it is Cosmic Rays as a quick service is the most visited fast food restaurant in the country and the second most visited fast food restaurant in the world. So that gives you an idea of the amount of people that go through there every day. And it's awful. I don't care what anybody says. And my son loves it there. And it is horrendously bad. You got to do a lot to get me to go to Cosmic Rays voluntarily. There are some quick service better than others at the Magic Kingdom. But outside of Harbor House and maybe Pecos Bills, nobody should eat anywhere in the Magic Kingdom. Leave the Magic Kingdom and go get some good food. Seriously, it's just not. It's not good food. I feel terrible saying that, but it's really not. And there are a lot of places just outside the Magic Kingdom where you can go to eat. So we decided to eat at. We had never been before. A friend recommended the Wave of American Flavors, and this is on the ground floor of the Contemporary Hotel. You can walk to the Contemporary from the Magic Kingdom, or you can take the monorail. We chose to take the monorail because we hadn't been on it our whole trip, and I always like to take the monorail at least once because it's fun. So it's one stop on the monorail. It literally takes 3 minutes to get there. So we took the monorail over, and we went to the Wave of American Flavors. So they are open, unlike most signature restaurants. The Wave of American Flavors is open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And apparently they do a phenomenal brunch on the weekends. Which we didn't get to experience, but that would definitely be on my list going forward. At this restaurant, we had the absolute best waitress that we had the entire trip.
Hands down.
Outstanding. She actually, there was a table behind us that was having a birthday, and she sang happy birthday to them, and she was phenomenal. She was very, very good. And she made up a birthday song for them on the spot. And then there was a table next to us that was having something. So she sang to them, and then she felt bad that we didn't get a song. So she, at the end of our meal, made up a dessert song for us based on Ursula's song in The Little Mermaid, and she was outstanding. I would go back just to have her as a server again, and God, I don't remember her name. And that's
Jackie?
Nope, that wasn't it. No. And if I find the video of her singing the song, I'm sure that I can see what it is.
Well, I can see if we get the video, then I can post it on the What's Happening site.
Okay, so we're going to do that because she was just excellent. So on to the food. For appetizers, one of the few seafood options that Ben enjoys is crab cakes. It is strangely one of the few seafood things I don't like, coincidentally enough. But they were called lump crab cakes with Old Bay remoulade, corn slaw, and salsa verde. He inhaled them, so
Delicious.
I'm guessing they were good.
They were delicious, and I didn't have to share them.
No, he didn't have to share much of his food. There was enough food for everybody to have their own in this trip.
Yeah, there was.
There wasn't a lot of sharing going on.
Tasting, no sharing.
Yes. Then I got steamed bao buns, seeded multigrain, focaccia, and lavash with seasonal spreads. And I'm going to tell you, these were outstanding. They weren't a traditional bao bun, which I feel like a traditional bao bun is enclosed, and you have to like cut it open to get at whatever's inside. These were more of a bao bun taco almost.
Yeah, that's a good description.
Very good. A lot of greenery on it, which I liked. Kind of made me feel like I was eating healthy food, even though I probably wasn't. It's okay. At this point in the trip, the diet has been blown. So it is what it is at that point. But it was very good. For our lunch, we both got the French dip sandwich. And I'm kind of kicking myself because I feel like I should have gotten something else. But for whatever reason, I'd had the roast beef sandwich that I didn't enjoy at Raglan Road. And I wanted the French dip because it was shaved roast beef, which is what I had wanted at Raglan Road. And instead it was more of a brisket. Again, my fault, not theirs. So we both actually ordered the French dip sandwich. It was shaved roast beef, caramelized onions, Swiss cheese, arugula, lemon caper aioli, and au jus. And it came with waffle fries. Out freaking standing.
Delicious.
The lemon caper aioli made the whole thing. And I know it sounds weird, but it was so good. It was so good. The au jus was amazing. Just the entire thing.
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely love French dip. I love the fact that, it's like you take it and you dip your sandwich into the au jus and it gets it nice and soft. And it was just so delicious. The cheese was like perfectly melted. A very good sandwich.
This was a 1-credit restaurant. It's also because it's in a resort. Resort restaurants are generally easier to get a reservation at, unless it's a signature. But a 1-credit resort restaurant like the Wave at the Contemporary or Sebastian's at Caribbean Beach are much easier to get a reservation at than a table service restaurant in a park. And generally speaking, it is more of the rule than the exception, but there are exceptions. The food at a resort table service is almost always going to be better than the table service in the parks. Epcot has some exceptions to that just based on what Epcot is. Hollywood Studios pretty much made that rule because I generally feel about Hollywood Studios the way I feel about the Magic Kingdom, and there are no good options at Hollywood Studios. The Brown Derby, the food was excellent. The restaurant was very loud. That's the only signature there. There are other table service restaurants there, and some that my son, we do 50s Primetime, which he loves. I also enjoy the food there. It's also very loud. And given the choice, I will leave a park and go to a resort table service where it's likely to be calmer and quieter, just to get away from the crowds for a while. And when you're talking about Hollywood Studios, there's no excuse now not to do that because you are right on the Skyliner ride. And the Skyliner will take you to Caribbean Beach, where you can go to the wonderful Sebastian's and have a meal. And that's what you should do. You should not eat at Hollywood Studios. They also have abysmal quick service options as well, for the most part. There wasn't a lot to eat at Hollywood Studios.
No.
We're really picky about food. And not what we eat, but the level of good it needs to be, I guess, is where I'm going with this. Like, we'll eat just about anything, clearly. But we want quality, especially for the prices you are paying in a theme park. And don't get me wrong, it's theme park food. If you go in looking for other than theme park food, you're going to be severely disappointed, but you have options. You can leave. They let you do that. You can leave and come back. You can take a Skyliner and go anywhere and get phenomenal food. Take a Skyliner, go to Epcot, eat food there. So anyway, the Wave was an excellent meal, and I highly recommend if you're looking for a restaurant to do on a Magic Kingdom day and you realize quite quickly that the restaurants in the Magic Kingdom suck, outside of Jungle Skipper Canteen, which is fantastic, I would highly recommend that you walk over to the Wave and give them a try. It was very good. Their dinner options look even better. People routinely rave about the bacon and eggs appetizer on the dinner menu, and I was a little sad that I didn't get to try that.
Maybe next time.
So maybe on the next trip, that'll be a thing. So I think that's it. That is all the restaurants we tried, sadly. Now I'm hungry because we just talked about restaurants for 2 hours and food. And now I would like to go back and have a meal again. So thanks for listening.
Okay, so our server at the Wave was actually named Jessie. And if you get a chance to go there, please ask for her to serve you because she was incredible. And I'd like to thank all the staff at Disney because they were really really great to us while we were there. And that being said, I'd like to point out that when you're on vacation, sometimes things go wrong. Sometimes things don't turn out the way you want. But that's truly not the staff's fault. And they're only there because they want to make you happy and come back to Disney. So when you treat them badly, I want you to think about this. Think about when you're at work and a customer is dealing with you. Would you want to be treated the way you treat them? I'm just, it's just a food for thought. I'd like to thank you all for listening to us. I did post a video of Jesse singing on our Facebook page while it's happening. And also, we are currently up on YouTube. So if you get a chance, please go there and listen to us. And I'd like to thank you all once again. And tune in next week, please, to find out what's happening.